Captain Hyunwoo Park stood on the bridge of the UES Resilience, watching the stars blur past as they traveled through hyperspace. The ship was one of Earth's newest vessels, built with technology shared by their alien allies. For 200 years, humans had been part of the Galactic Coalition, working side by side with 6 other species to keep peace in the galaxy. Hyunwoo had grown up hearing stories about first contact. His grandfather often told him about the day the aliens arrived on Earth, offering friendship and knowledge. The Vrataki looked like giant insects, but were gentle and wise. The Nexari were made of living crystal and could sing songs that made humans cry with joy. The Dolmari lived in water and helped Earth clean its polluted oceans. The other species were just as amazing and helpful. Now Hyunwoo served alongside these aliens every day. His crew included humans and aliens working together. His best friend was a young Vrataki named Clickstep, who helped run the ship's engines. They had saved each other's lives many times during dangerous missions. Today, they were heading to the Nexari homeworld for a routine diplomatic meeting. Dr. So-Young Kim, Earth's top scientist who studied alien life, was aboard to discuss new research projects. She was brilliant and had spent her whole career learning about their alien friends. So-Young sat in her lab, looking at data from recent expeditions. She had always been curious about everything, asking questions that sometimes made people uncomfortable. Today, she was studying communication patterns between the coalition species, trying to understand how they coordinated their massive alliance. Something strange caught her attention. Hidden in the normal diplomatic messages were other signals, encrypted and secret. So-Young was good with codes, a skill she had learned as a hobby. The more she looked, the more worried she became. These messages were not supposed to exist. She worked for hours, breaking through layer after layer of encryption. Her hands shook as she began to understand what she was reading. The messages were between the 6 alien species, but they were not about normal coalition business. They were about humans. The aliens called humans a viral species that spread too fast and changed too quickly. They said humans were dangerous because they adapted to everything and could not be controlled. The messages talked about a final solution to the human problem. So-Young felt sick as she read more. The aliens had been planning this for decades. They had been watching humans, studying their weaknesses, and preparing for the day they would eliminate them completely. Every piece of technology they had shared, every bit of help they had given, was designed to keep humans weak and dependent. She ran to the bridge, her datapad clutched in her trembling hands. "Captain Park," she called out. "We need to talk, right now. It's urgent." Hyunwoo saw the fear in her eyes and immediately took her to his private office. So-Young showed him the messages, translating the alien languages he could not read. His face went pale as he understood what they meant. "Are you sure about this?" he asked, hoping she was wrong. "I've checked it 3 times, So-Young said. "They're going to kill us all, every human in the galaxy." Before Hyunwoo could respond, alarms began screaming throughout the ship. His communications officer's voice came through the speakers. "Captain, we're receiving emergency broadcasts from Earth. Multiple alien fleets have opened fire on our colonies. They're attacking everywhere at once." Hyunwoo and So-Young rushed back to the bridge. The main screen showed reports flooding in from across human space. Earth's orbital stations were burning. Mars' colony was under bombardment. The lunar bases had gone silent. Their alien friends had turned their weapons on every human settlement simultaneously. "Sir," the navigation officer said, "we're receiving a priority message from Admiral Kang's fleet. He's ordering all human ships to retreat to Rally Point 7. "What about the Nexari meeting?" asked the weapons officer. Hyunwoo looked at the tactical display. 3 Nexari warships were moving to intercept them, their weapons charging. "Cancel the meeting. They were never planning to talk. Plot a course away from here, maximum speed." The Resilience shook as enemy fire struck their shields. The Nexari ships were faster and more powerful, but Hyunwoo's crew knew their ship well. They ducked between asteroids and used every trick they knew to escape. As they fled, more reports came in. The scale of the betrayal was enormous. 80% of Earth's military had been destroyed in the first hour. The aliens had used their detailed knowledge of human defenses to strike at exactly the right places at exactly the right time. Clickstep, Hyunwoo's Vrataki friend, had barricaded himself in engineering when the attack began. Through the door, he told Hyunwoo that he had not known about the plan. He begged Hyunwoo to believe that not all aliens supported this genocide. "I believe you," Hyunwoo said, though his heart was breaking. "But I can't let you out. I have to protect my crew." So Young worked frantically to contact other human ships and scientists. Many were already dead or missing. Dr. Woo Jin Ryu from the Medical Research Station had escaped with samples of alien biology. Engineer Tae-ho Lee had fled the Martian shipyards with blueprints of coalition technology. The most important message came from Commander Ji-eun Choi, a military strategist who had been studying coalition tactics. She had suspected something was wrong and had prepared contingency plans. She knew where human survivors could meet and how they could stay hidden. As the Resilience limped toward the rally point, Hyunwoo watched the stars and thought about what they had lost. Earth was burning. Billions of humans were dead. Their friends had betrayed them in the worst possible way. Everything they had believed about the galaxy was a lie, but humans were still alive, and humans were very good at surviving impossible situations. Hyunwoo had read history books about wars on Earth, about people who fought back against overwhelming odds. Humans had a way of becoming more dangerous when cornered. So Young joined him at the observation window. "What do we do now?" she asked. "We survive," Hyunwoo said. "And then we show them what happens when you try to wipe out the human race." The Resilience continued through space, carrying its crew toward an uncertain future. Behind them, the galaxy burned with the light of human worlds under attack. Ahead lay only darkness, and the hope that somewhere in that darkness, humanity would find a way to fight back. The war had begun, though only one side knew it yet. The aliens thought they had won by striking first and striking hard. They did not understand that humans had been fighting and surviving for thousands of years before they ever reached the stars. This betrayal would not end humanity. It would unleash something the galaxy had never seen before. 3 months had passed since the betrayal, and humanity was dying. Less than 100 million humans remained alive in the entire galaxy, scattered across dozens of small fleets that ran and hid like hunted animals. Every day brought news of another group discovered and destroyed by alien hunting parties. Admiral Min-Soo Kang stood in the command center of the makeshift base they had built inside the Void Nebula. The nebula was a massive cloud of gas and radiation that most species considered deadly and useless. It was the perfect place to hide, which made it the perfect place to die slowly. The base was nothing like the grand space stations humans had, built before the war. It was made from pieces of damaged ships welded together, powered by jury-rigged reactors that barely kept the lights on. Food was rationed, medical supplies were running low, and everyone knew they were living on borrowed time. "How many did we lose this week?" Min-Soo asked his aide, Commander Ji-eun Choi. 17 ships, Ji-eun replied, her voice tired. The Dulgari hunting fleet found the group hiding near the Horsehead Nebula. No survivors. Min-Soo closed his eyes. 17 ships meant at least 50,000 people. Families, children, scientists, soldiers, all dead because they had trusted the wrong species for too long. Dr. So-Young Kim had not slept properly in weeks. She spent every waking hour in her laboratory, studying the alien technology they had salvaged from the early battles. What she was discovering made her angrier every day. "They lied to us about everything," she told her assistant, Dr. Young-Sik Bae. "Look at this engine design. We could have built ships twice as fast 50 years ago, but they told us it was too dangerous for humans to use." Young-Sik examined the data. "What about the weapons?" "Even worse. They gave us toys while they kept the real weapons for themselves. This plasma cannon we've been using for decades? It's a mining tool. They've been fighting us with mining equipment because they never thought we'd need anything stronger." In another part of the base, engineer Tae-ho Lee was working on a different problem. He had noticed something strange about human technology compared to alien technology. Human devices were simpler, but more adaptable. They could be modified and improved much easier than the rigid alien designs. "The aliens build everything like a puzzle," he explained to his team. "Every piece has one specific job and can't do anything else. But humans build things like tools. One tool can do many different jobs if you're creative enough." This difference was keeping them alive. Human ships could be repaired with salvaged alien parts, but alien ships could not use human components. Human weapons could be modified to use alien power sources, but alien weapons were useless without their specific energy cells. Tejo was working on something new, a stealth system that would hide human ships from alien sensors. The aliens had better technology, but they had built their sensors to look for alien ships. They might not notice something that looked completely different. In the intelligence section, researcher Yoonji Nam was making the most disturbing discovery of all. She had been studying historical records from the Coalition archives, looking for clues about how to fight the alien alliance. What she found was a pattern of genocide stretching back thousands of years. Humans were not the first species. The Coalition had decided to eliminate. They were the 18th. Look at this. She showed her findings to Admiral Min-Soo. The Keth Empire, eliminated 4,000 years ago for being too aggressive. The Harmony Collective, destroyed 2,000 years ago for dangerous philosophical ideas. The Star Wanderers, wiped out 800 years ago for uncontrolled expansion. Each extinct species had been more advanced than the last. Each had possessed some trait that made the Coalition nervous. The Coalition had absorbed their technology and erased them from history, claiming they had died from natural disasters or civil wars. How many species has the Coalition really destroyed? Min-Soo asked. At least 17 that I can prove, probably more. They don't just kill competitors, Admiral. They kill anyone who might become competitors, and they're very good at it. The knowledge was terrifying, but also useful. If other species had faced the same fate, there might be survivors hiding somewhere in the galaxy. There might be allies who had their own reasons to hate the Coalition. Captain Hyunwoo Park was leading a scouting mission to find one of these lost species. His ship, now renamed the Defiance, crept through a system that was supposed to be empty. According to Coalition records, the Keth Empire had destroyed itself in a civil war 4,000 years ago, but the records were lies. Hyunwoo found hidden. Bases built into asteroids, camouflaged so well that his sensors almost missed them. The Keth had not destroyed themselves. They had been forced underground, just like humanity. The first contact was tense. The Keth looked like armored reptiles, and had been hiding for so long they trusted no one. But when Hyunwoo showed them evidence of the Coalition's recent betrayal of humanity, their attitude changed. "You are the newest victims," said the Keth, leader, whose name translated roughly to Stone Fang. "We have been waiting for someone else to learn the truth." The Keth had spent 4,000 years preparing for revenge. They had developed new technologies in secret, built hidden fleets, and watched the Coalition grow fat and lazy. They had been waiting for the right moment to strike back. "Why didn't you fight sooner?" Hyunwoo asked. "Because we were alone," Stone Fang replied. "The Coalition is too strong for one species to defeat, but now there are 2 of us, maybe more." Back at the Void Nebula base, the human leaders were planning their next move. They could not stay hidden forever. Their supplies were running low, and the alien hunting fleets were getting closer to finding them. Commander Ji-eun Choi had developed a strategy she called scattered survival. Instead of keeping all humans together where they could be destroyed at once, they would split into hundreds of tiny groups. Each group would hide in a different dangerous region of space. "The aliens think certain areas are uninhabitable," she explained. "Radiation zones, gravity wells, toxic nebulae, unstable star systems. But humans are tougher than they think. We can survive in places they would never look." Dr. So Young supported the plan. "If we separate, we can also work on different research projects. One group focuses on weapons, another on ships, another on medicine. The aliens can't stop all of us." Admiral Min-Soo made the hard decision. "We scatter in 1 week. Take only what you absolutely need. Every group gets a quantum communicator so we can stay in contact. And remember, we're not running away. We're spreading out to become stronger." The last week in the Void Nebula was emotional. Families said goodbye, not knowing if they would ever see each other again. Scientists shared their research, hoping someone else could continue their work if they died. Soldiers made promises to meet again when the war was won. Hyunwoo returned from his mission with news about the Keth Alliance. The discovery that other species had survived genocide gave everyone hope. Humanity was not alone in its hatred of the Coalition. As the human fleets prepared to scatter across the galaxy, everyone understood that they were about to enter the most dangerous phase of their existence. They would be completely alone, surrounded by enemies, with nothing but their wits and determination to keep them alive. But they were still human, and humans had always been good at turning impossible situations into opportunities. The aliens had made one critical mistake in their planning. They had assumed that destroying most of humanity would weaken the survivors. They were about to learn that the opposite was true. 2 years had passed since the Great Scattering, and the galaxy was starting to notice strange things happening in places where nothing should be able to live. Deep in the Scorpion radiation zone, where the death of 3 stars had left space, poisoned with deadly energy, engineer Tae-Ho Lee was building something impossible. His team of 30 humans had not just survived in the radiation. They had learned to use it. The aliens think radiation is just dangerous waste, Tae-Ho explained to his newest assistant, mechanist Bo Kyung-Yu. But radiation is energy, and energy can be controlled if you know how. Their hidden base was carved into an asteroid that glowed with radioactive minerals. Instead of shielding themselves from the radiation, they had built systems that absorbed it and turned it into power. Their generators produced more energy than the biggest coalition stations, and the radiation made them completely invisible to alien sensors. Tae-Ho's greatest achievement was the quantum phase drive. By manipulating the unstable energy fields around them, human ships could briefly shift into another dimension, becoming completely invisible and able to pass through solid matter. It was technology that the aliens had never imagined possible. Test flight successful, reported pilot Sujin Kang as her ship materialized inside the asteroid base. I phased through 3 kilometers of solid rock without any problems. The aliens won't be able to track or stop ships using this technology. Far away, in a system where toxic gases from a dying star made the air poisonous to most life forms, Dr. Young-Sik Bae was working on an even more revolutionary project. His team had discovered that humans could adapt to almost any environment, if given the right biological modifications. The aliens see environments as either safe or deadly, Young-Sik said to his research partner, Dr. Haewon Cho. But humans see environments as puzzles to solve. We don't just adapt, we improve. They had developed biological enhancement treatments that allowed humans to breathe toxic gases, survive in extreme temperatures, and heal from injuries that would kill other species. More importantly, these enhancements could be passed on to children, making each generation stronger than the last. The test subjects were volunteers who had lost everything in the alien attacks. Soldier Dong-hee Park had volunteered after his family was killed on Mars. The treatments had given him strength 3 times greater than normal humans, reflexes fast enough to dodge laser fire, and skin tough enough to resist vacuum exposure. How do you feel? Dr. Haewon asked after his latest enhancement session. Like I could tear apart a Vrataki with my bare hands, Dong-hee replied, flexing his newly improved muscles. When do I get to try? In the Maelstrom cluster, where gravitational anomalies made space travel nearly impossible, Commander Ji-eun Choi was building something even more valuable than new technology, a communication network that connected all the scattered human groups. The quantum communicators they had taken when they scattered were good, but they could be detected and blocked by alien technology. Ji-eun's new system used gravitational waves, ripples in space itself that no alien species had ever learned to control. Message from the radiation zone team, reported communications specialist In-ho Lim. They've completed the new phase drive and are ready to share the technology. Signal from the Toxic Nebula Group, added another operator. They're requesting volunteers for the Biological Enhancement Program, and we've got a priority message from Captain Park's scouting fleet. They've made contact with another survivor species, something called the Whisper Collective. Ji-eun smiled as she watched the messages flow between human groups. The aliens thought they had broken human civilization by scattering them across the galaxy. Instead, they had created something much more dangerous, a distributed network of research groups that could share knowledge instantly while remaining impossible to destroy completely. The breakthrough that changed everything came from an unexpected source. Physicist Hana Yoon was part of a small group hiding near a black hole, using the extreme gravitational fields to power their experiments. She was studying the fundamental forces of the universe when she made a discovery that would reshape galactic civilization. Dark matter, she announced during a quantum conference call with the other research teams. We've been thinking about it all wrong. It's not just invisible matter, it's programmable matter. Her research team had found a way to manipulate dark matter directly, turning the invisible substance that made up most of the universe into tools, weapons, and energy sources. Dark matter was everywhere, meaning humans could build anything they needed wherever they happened to be. Show them the demonstration, urged her assistant. Dr. Kyung-soo Min Hana activated a device that looked like a simple metal box. Dark matter flowed into it from empty space, and moments later, a fully functional laser cannon materialized on the lab table. We can create matter from nothing, anywhere in the universe. We can build fleets in deep space, weapons inside enemy, ships, or entire cities in empty systems. The implications were staggering. Humans no longer needed to worry about supply lines, manufacturing centers, or resource gathering. They could create whatever they needed from the dark matter that surrounded them everywhere. While the scientists were making breakthroughs, Intelligence Officer Dong-Jun Park was working on a different kind of problem. The younger brother of Captain Hyunwoo Park, Dong-Jun had always been good at getting into places he was not supposed to be. Now he was using those skills to infiltrate alien communication networks. The coalition is getting nervous, he reported during a leadership meeting. They've started having problems they don't understand. Equipment failures, computer viruses, mysterious accidents. They're blaming each other. The alien alliance was beginning to crack under the stress of their rapid expansion into human territory. The 6 species had always competed with each other, and now they were fighting over the resources they had stolen from humanity. The Vrataki think the Nexari are sabotaging their factories, Dong-Jun continued. The Dolmari are accusing the Kashani of stealing their technology. The Thornids and Scalari have stopped sharing intelligence completely. They're more paranoid about each other than they are about us. This gave the humans an opportunity. If they could increase the tension between coalition species, they might be able to turn the aliens against each other without revealing that humans were still alive and fighting back. Captain Hyunwoo Park was leading this psychological warfare campaign. His ship, now equipped with quantum phase technology, could strike at alien targets and disappear without a trace. But instead of claiming credit for the attacks, he made each attack look like the work of a different coalition species. Target identified, reported his tactical officer, Lieutenant Chan Woo Seo. Vrataki Supply Depot lightly defended. Begin the attack, Hyunwoo ordered. Use Dolmari weapons and leave Dolmari ship fragments at the scene. Make it look like an aquatic assault team. The attack was perfect. The depot was destroyed, but the evidence suggested that their supposed allies had betrayed them. When the Vrataki investigated, they found weapon signatures and ship debris that could only have come from Dolmari forces. Similar attacks were happening throughout coalition space. Each one was designed to increase suspicion and hatred between the alien species. The humans were very careful to make sure their involvement could not be detected. Dr. So-Young Kim had become the coordinator for all human research efforts. From her mobile laboratory aboard a ship that traveled between the hidden bases, she watched humanity's greatest minds work together to solve the impossible. We're not just surviving, she told Admiral Min-soo during one of their regular conferences. We're evolving. Every challenge the aliens throw at us makes us stronger and smarter. The numbers supported her claim. In just 2 years of desperate fighting, humans had developed technologies that were decades ahead of anything in the coalition. They had biological enhancements that made them superhuman, weapons that could destroy matter at the quantum level, and ships that could phase between dimensions. More importantly, they had learned to work together in ways they never had before. The old divisions between nations, cultures, and political systems had disappeared. Every human was part of the same cause now: survival and revenge. As the 3rd year of the war began, the scattered human groups started to reconnect physically. Ships equipped with quantum phase drives could travel undetected between the hidden bases, carrying supplies, people, and information. The aliens still thought they had won the war. Their intelligence services reported no human activity, no organized resistance, no threat to coalition security. They were focused on dividing up human territory and resources while watching each other for signs of betrayal. They had no idea that in the dark corners of the galaxy, in places too dangerous for alien life to survive, Humanity was becoming something new and terrible, a species that had learned to thrive in impossible conditions and turn every disadvantage into a weapon. The real war was about to begin. The first strike of humanity's counterattack happened on a quiet Tuesday in the Vrataki home system. The massive shipyard orbiting their industrial moon had been building warships for 300 years, but on this day, it simply stopped existing. Captain. Yujin Song watched from her command chair as the quantum phase torpedoes materialized inside the shipyard's central structure. The dark matter weapons tore apart the station from within, turning it into expanding clouds of metal and energy. 30,000 Vrataki workers died instantly, and with them went the most important military construction facility in their empire. "Any survivors?" asked her weapons officer, Ensign Jamin Ko. "Negative," Yujin replied, checking her sensors. "The station is completely gone, and there's no evidence that we were ever here." That was the beautiful part of the new human technology. The ghost ships, as they called them, could phase into a target area, attack, and phase out again without leaving any trace of their presence. To outside observers, the shipyard had simply exploded for no reason. Yujin's squadron of 12 ghost ships had been conducting similar attacks for 6 months. They struck without warning, destroyed their targets completely, and vanished like they had never existed. The aliens were starting to notice the pattern, but they had no idea what was causing it. 3 systems away, Special Operations Commander Jae Sung-oh was preparing for a different kind of mission. His team of enhanced humans looked like perfect Nexari crystals, thanks to biological camouflage technology that could fool even close inspection. "Remember," he told his squad as they prepared to infiltrate a Nexari research station, "we're here to plant viruses in their computer networks and steal their gravitational wave technology. In and out. No violence unless absolutely necessary." The mission went perfectly. Jae-sung's team walked through the station's security like they belonged there, uploaded their virus packages into the main computers, copied terabytes of research data, and left behind microscopic sabotage devices that would cause mysterious failures for months to come. By the time the Nexari discovered what had happened, the infiltrators were long gone. The computer viruses would spread through their entire network, causing critical systems to fail at the worst possible moments. The stolen technology would help humans build even better ships and weapons, but the most important part of the mission was what they left behind, evidence that suggested the break-in had been conducted by Dolmari agents. False genetic traces, forged access codes, and planted documents would convince the Nexari that their aquatic allies were spying on them. This was the pattern of the new human war. Every attack, every sabotage mission, every act of destruction was designed to look like the work of a different coalition species. The humans were turning their enemies against each other while remaining invisible. Dr. So-Young Kim had become the master of biological warfare. In her floating laboratory, she developed weapons tailored to each alien species' unique vulnerabilities. The Nexari crystalline matrix could be infected with a virus that caused fatal structural flaws. Dolmari water-breathing systems could be poisoned with toxins that were harmless to air-breathing species. Vrataki hive minds could be disrupted with neural cascade weapons that drove them insane. "The beauty of biological weapons," she explained to her research team, "is that they look like natural diseases. When a Nexari colony starts dying from crystal rot, they think it's a plague, not an attack." Her latest creation was especially elegant, a modified bacteria that would spread through thornid plant cities, causing their living buildings to wither and die. The bacteria was engineered to carry genetic markers that would make it look like a Scalari bioweapon. "Deploy it on the thornid agricultural worlds," she instructed Agent Meek-young Choi. "Make sure the evidence points to Scalari involvement. We want them to declare war on each other." The psychological warfare campaign was working better than anyone had hoped. Coalition species that had been allies for thousands of years were becoming suspicious and hostile toward each other. Trade relationships collapsed as accusations of sabotage flew back and forth. Military cooperation broke down as each species started hiding their technology from the others. Intelligence Officer Dong-Jun Park monitored the growing chaos from his mobile command center. His network of hidden sensors and infiltrated communication systems gave him a perfect view of the Coalition's internal problems. "The Vrataki are mobilizing 3 battle fleets," he reported to Admiral Minsu Kang. "They're convinced the Dolmari are planning to attack their core systems." "What about the Nexari?" Minsu asked. "They've stopped sharing research data with everyone. They think all the other species are trying to steal their gravitational technology." "And the smaller species?" "The Thornids and Scalari are in open conflict. The Kishani are trying to stay neutral, but they're making secret deals with whoever offers them the best terms." Admiral Minsu smiled as he studied the intelligence reports. The coalition that had seemed so powerful 3 years ago was tearing itself apart. Fear and paranoia were spreading faster than any human weapon could have. The breakthrough moment came when strategist Bo-Ra Lim proposed Operation Mirror. Instead of just making the aliens suspicious of each other, humans would actively impersonate coalition forces during attacks on coalition targets. "We hit a Vrataki colony with ships that look exactly like Dolmari vessels," she explained to the War Council. "We use their weapons, their tactics, their communication codes. When the Vrataki investigate, they'll find perfect evidence that the Dolmari attacked them." Captain Hyunwoo Park led the first mirror operation. His ship had been modified to look exactly like a Dolmari war cruiser, complete with artificial life support systems that made it smell like the ocean. His crew wore biological disguises that made them look and sound like aquatic aliens. The target was a Vrataki mining operation on a remote asteroid. It was defended by only a few patrol ships, making it perfect for a fake Dolmari raid. "Begin the attack," Hyunwoo ordered, speaking in perfect Dolmari language. "Use their standard boarding procedures." The attack was devastating but carefully controlled. The human crew, disguised as Dolmari soldiers, captured the mining station and downloaded all the geological data. They left behind plenty of evidence: Dolmari weapons, Dolmari equipment, even recorded messages in Dolmari language claiming the attack was retaliation for Vrataki aggression. When the real Dolmari government denied involvement, the Vrataki did not believe them. How could they explain the perfect evidence? How could they account for the exact knowledge of Dolmari military procedures? Within weeks, Vrataki and Dolmari fleets were shooting at each other in 3 different systems. The 1,000-year alliance between the two species collapsed into open warfare. Dr. Woojin Ryu was working on the final phase of the biological warfare program. Instead of targeting individual species, he was developing weapons that would affect entire planetary ecosystems while leaving them suitable for human colonization. "Targeted extinction events," he explained to his team. "We eliminate the alien population while preserving the planet's biosphere for human use. It's more efficient than destroying everything and having to rebuild." His most ambitious project was a retrovirus that would rewrite alien DNA, making them unable to reproduce. The virus would spread through entire populations before anyone realized what was happening. Within a generation, affected species would simply die out naturally. "Is it ready for testing?" asked Dr. Haewon Cho, who had joined his team after completing her work on human biological enhancements. "Almost. I need a few more weeks to ensure it won't affect humans or Earth-origin life forms. We can't risk contaminating ourselves with our own weapons." The most shocking development came when Commander Subin Han revealed the extent of human infiltration into Coalition space. For 3 years, enhanced humans had been secretly placing quantum bombs on every major Coalition world. "We have explosive devices on 647 planets," she reported to the Leadership Council. "Every homeworld, every major colony, every important industrial center. We could destroy their entire civilization with a single command." The bombs were made from dark matter and were completely undetectable by alien technology. They had been placed by infiltration teams, hidden in asteroid mining operations, or simply materialized into position using quantum phase technology. "Why haven't we used them?" asked one of the council members. Admiral Minsu answered. "Because we're not monsters. The bombs are insurance, not a first-strike weapon. If they somehow discover our operations and try to finish what they started, we can end them all instantly, but we prefer to let them destroy each other." The strategy was working perfectly. Coalition species were so busy fighting each other that they had completely forgotten about humanity. Their intelligence services were focused on monitoring each other, not looking for human survivors. Their military forces were deployed against each other, not hunting for human bases. As the 4th year of the war began, human observers watched Coalition civilization tear itself apart. Ancient alliances crumbled into bitter rivalries. trade. Networks collapsed as species imposed sanctions on each other. Scientific cooperation ended as each group hoarded their knowledge. Some human leaders wanted to accelerate the process, to push the aliens into total. The truth came out in the worst possible way for the coalition. High Commander Vextari of the Vrataki was investigating the destruction of their newest research facility when his teams found something that made his blood run cold: human technology. Fragments that should not have existed. The sabotage device was unlike anything in the Coalition databases. It used quantum phase manipulation and dark matter programming, technologies that the Vrataki had never seen before. More disturbing was the genetic residue left behind, definitely human, but enhanced far beyond normal human capabilities. "This is impossible," Vexitari told his science team. "We eliminated the humans 4 years ago. Their entire species is extinct." Chief Scientist Zach then examined the evidence again. "The genetic markers are definitely human, but modified, enhanced strength, improved healing, radiation resistance. This is not natural human biology." Vexitari felt fear creeping into his mind. If humans had somehow survived, if they had been conducting these attacks for years without being detected, then the Coalition was facing an enemy far more dangerous than they had imagined. "Send this information to all Coalition species immediately," he ordered. "Emergency council meeting. If the humans are alive, we need to know exactly what we're dealing with." The Coalition Council meeting on the neutral station orbiting Kepler Prime was the most tense gathering in 1,000 years. Representatives from all 6 species brought evidence of similar discoveries. Human technology at sabotage sites, enhanced human genetic material, and signs of infiltration that had gone undetected for years. Premier Akthen of the Nexari was the first to speak. "Our analysis confirms what the Vrataki discovered. Not only are humans still alive, but they have developed technologies superior to our own. The quantum phase manipulation alone represents a breakthrough we have been trying to achieve for centuries." Fleet Admiral Glumesh of the Dolmari added his own disturbing news. "We have reviewed all the mysterious attacks and equipment failures from the past 3 years. The pattern is clear. Humans have been conducting a systematic campaign of sabotage and psychological warfare against us. The worst revelation came from Supreme General Tharndek of the Scolari. Our war with the Thornids, our conflict with the Vrataki, the breakdown of trust between our species, none of it was natural. The humans have been manipulating us, turning us against each other while they prepared for something larger." High Commander Vextari stood before the assembled leaders. "We face a simple choice. We can unite against this human threat, or we can continue destroying each other while they watch and wait. But I warn you, if we cannot work together, humans will defeat us individually." The decision to reunite the Coalition was unanimous, but the damage had already been done. Years of manipulation and false flag attacks had created deep wounds between the species. The Thornids refused to share military intelligence with the Scolari. The Dolmari would not coordinate fleet movements with the Vrataki. The Nexari kept their best weapons technology secret from everyone else. Meanwhile, in the hidden base inside the Void Nebula, Admiral Min Su Kang was receiving reports that the Coalition had discovered human involvement in the sabotage campaign. "How much do they know?" he asked Intelligence Officer Dongjun Park. "Everything. They've identified our technology, found genetic evidence, and traced the pattern of our psychological warfare operations. They know we've been alive and fighting back for years." Dr. So Young Kim joined the discussion. "This actually works in our favor. They spent 4 years thinking they had won, getting soft and divided. Now they know they're in a real war, but they've already lost their biggest advantages." Admiral Min-Su nodded. "Contact all human fleets. It's time to reveal ourselves. Captain Park, prepare the broadcast. On every Coalition world, on every military vessel, on every space station, the communication system suddenly activated without authorization." The face that appeared on the screens was one the older aliens recognized. Captain Hyunwoo Park, who had supposedly died with the rest of humanity 4 years earlier. "People of the Coalition," Hyunwoo began, his voice calm and confident. "You tried to commit genocide against my species. You failed. For 4 years, you have been fighting an enemy you thought was dead. Today, you learn the truth." The message was broadcast simultaneously across the entire galaxy. There was no way to block it, no way to stop it, no way to deny what was happening. Humanity offers each of your species a simple choice. Hyun-woo continued. Surrender unconditionally and accept exile to designated sectors under human supervision, or continue this war and face complete extinction. You have 72 hours to decide. The message ended with a demonstration of human power. On the main screen appeared a real-time view of the Vrataki home system, where a massive human fleet had just materialized out of quantum phase space. Hundreds of ships that should not have existed, built with technology the Coalition did not understand, commanded by a species they had tried to murder. High Commander Vexitari watched the human fleet with growing horror. These were not the simple, dependent humans the Coalition had known for centuries. These ships were larger, faster, and more advanced than anything in the Coalition arsenal. "How many ships?" he asked his tactical officer. 600 visible vessels, Commander. But our sensors show quantum phase distortion suggesting many more ships that we cannot detect. The Coalition's response was swift but uncoordinated. The Vrataki mobilized their home defense fleets. The Nexari activated their planetary shields. The Dolmari prepared their underwater cities for siege. But none of them were working together effectively. Admiral Hyun-woo Park, now commanding the human fleet, received the Coalition's answer through official diplomatic channels. All 6 species had rejected the surrender ultimatum and declared their intention to fight to the last soldier. They chose the hard way, Hyun-woo told his staff. Begin Operation Revelation. Show them what humans can do when we're not holding back. The first human attack was a demonstration of overwhelming technological superiority. General In-soo Kwon led a fleet of quantum phase battleships against the Vrataki defense forces. The battle was over in minutes. Human ships phased through Vrataki shields as if they did not exist. Dark matter weapons tore apart alien vessels at the molecular level. Quantum torpedoes materialized inside enemy ships and detonated without warning. The Vrataki fleet, which had dominated their local space for centuries, was completely destroyed without inflicting a single casualty on the attackers. Similar demonstrations occurred in every Coalition system. Human forces appeared without warning, destroyed military targets with impossible ease, and vanished before effective counterattacks could be organized. Dr. Woojin Ryu activated the final phase of the biological warfare program. Targeted plagues began spreading through Coalition worlds, each designed to affect only specific alien species while leaving their ecosystems intact for human colonization. The Nexari crystal rot virus spread through their cities, causing their living buildings to crumble into dust. Thornid agricultural worlds withered as plant-specific toxins poisoned their biocities. Dolmari water supplies became deadly to aquatic life, but remained perfectly safe for human use. Within weeks, Coalition casualties were in the billions. Entire planets were becoming uninhabitable for their original species, but perfect for human colonization. The biological weapons worked exactly as designed, clearing space for human expansion without destroying valuable resources. The most shocking moment came when Commander Subin Han revealed the extent of human preparation. On the main display in the Coalition Emergency Command Center appeared a map of the galaxy showing the location of every quantum bomb that had been secretly placed over the previous 4 years. 647 major Coalition worlds are currently rigged with dark matter explosives, Subin announced during a galaxy-wide broadcast. Every homeworld, every major colony, every important industrial center. We could end your civilizations instantly, but we choose to offer mercy instead. The psychological impact was devastating. Coalition leaders realized that for years, humanity had held the power to destroy them completely, but had chosen to fight a limited war instead. The humans were not just more advanced. They were more restrained and more ethical than the species that had tried to genocide them. Premier Akthen of the Nexari was the first to break. "We cannot win this war," he announced to his people. "The humans have technologies we cannot counter, weapons we cannot detect, and strategies we cannot predict. Worse, they have shown mercy we did not deserve." Fleet Admiral Glumesh of the Dolmari agreed. "Our alliance tried to commit genocide and failed. The humans could have responded with their own genocide but chose not to. They are offering us survival when they could offer us death. The coalition began to fracture as individual species started considering separate peace negotiations. The Kashani were the first to officially request surrender terms. The Thornids followed within hours. The Dolmari and Nexari began secret negotiations with human representatives. Only the Vrataki and Scalari continued to resist, driven by pride and the belief that their military traditions would somehow overcome human technological superiority. They were wrong. Captain Yujin Song led the final assault on the Vrataki homeworld. 1 year after the coalition's surrender, President Dasam Shin stood before the Galactic Assembly on the rebuilt station orbiting Earth. The massive chamber was filled with representatives from dozens of species, not just the original coalition members, but also the survivors of the 17 species that had been secretly exterminated over the centuries. Today we establish a new order in this galaxy, Dasam announced to the assembled delegates. An order based on justice, cooperation, and the protection of all sentient life. Never again will one species attempt to eliminate another. Never again will fear and prejudice guide galactic policy. The human hegemony was unlike any galactic government that had existed before. Instead of ruling through fear and domination, humans governed through earned respect and demonstrated competence. The alien species had surrendered not just because they could not win, but because they had come to understand that human leadership offered them a better future than they had ever known. Director Kyung-ho Yoon headed the Rehabilitation Authority, the organization responsible for integrating former coalition species into the new galactic civilization. His approach was firm but fair, focusing on education and opportunity rather than punishment and revenge. The goal is not to humiliate our former enemies, he explained to his staff during a planning meeting. The goal is to help them become productive members of a better society. Some of them were genuinely horrified when they learned about the genocide programs. Those individuals deserve a chance to prove their commitment to change. The relocation process had been massive, but surprisingly smooth. Coalition species were moved to designated sectors where they could rebuild their civilizations under human oversight. The sectors were not prisons. They were carefully chosen regions with abundant resources and suitable environments for each species. The Nexari had been given control of crystal-rich systems where they could grow new cities and develop their music and art. The Dolmari received ocean worlds where they could continue their aquatic civilization. Even the proud Vrataki and Scalari were provided with suitable worlds where they could maintain their military traditions within peaceful frameworks. What surprised many observers was how quickly former enemies adapted to human leadership. Admiral Min Sukong, now serving as Galactic Defense Coordinator, had reports from across known space showing remarkable cooperation between species. The Thornids are sharing agricultural technology with human colonies, he told President Dasam during their weekly briefing. The Nexari have offered to help design new gravitational communication networks. Even some Vrataki and Scalari veterans are volunteering for joint training programs. The key to successful integration was the citizenship program developed by social integration specialist Lee Young Park. Former coalition citizens could earn full rights and freedoms by demonstrating genuine commitment to the new galactic principles. We don't punish people for the crimes of their governments, Lee Young explained to a group of Nexari refugees applying for citizenship. We judge individuals by their own actions and choices. Help us build a better galaxy, and you will be welcomed as equals. Thousands of aliens were taking advantage of this opportunity. Dr. Crystal Singer Velani, a former Nexari weapons researcher, now worked alongside human scientists developing medical technologies. Former Vrataki commander Click March had become an instructor at the Human Military Academy, teaching alien tactical concepts to human officers. The most successful integration story was that of the Kishani energy beings. Their species had never been fully committed to the genocide program and had surrendered immediately when human survival was revealed. Now they served as mediators and translators, helping other species understand human culture and values. Dr. So-Young Kim, now serving as Galactic Science Administrator, was overseeing the most ambitious research projects in galactic history. The combination of human innovation with salvaged alien technologies was producing breakthroughs that benefited everyone. We're not just sharing knowledge, she told her research council. We're creating new knowledge that no single species could have developed alone. Human adaptability, combined with Nixari gravitational theory and Vertaki bioengineering, is opening possibilities we never imagined. The Quantum Biological Project was a perfect example. Human scientists working with reformed Vertaki researchers had developed medical treatments that could extend lifespans and enhance capabilities for any species. The treatments were being distributed freely to all galactic citizens, regardless of their species or past affiliations. Engineer Tae-Ho Lee had become the head of the Galactic Infrastructure Project, rebuilding the galaxy's transportation and communication networks using advanced human technology. The new systems were faster, more efficient, and more secure than anything the Coalition had built. The old hyperlane network was designed to maintain Coalition control, he explained to a group of planetary governors. Our new quantum phase transit system gives every world equal access to galactic civilization. No one species can control the flow of trade and information. The economic transformation was equally dramatic. Trade coordinator Hyejin No had restructured galactic commerce to prevent the resource monopolies that had given the Coalition power over smaller species. Every species has something valuable to contribute, she said during a trade summit. Thornid bioarchitecture, Dolmari aquaculture, Nexari crystal technology, human adaptability. When we combine our strengths instead of competing with them, everyone benefits. The results were visible across the galaxy. Former Coalition worlds that had been struggling under corrupt governments were now prospering under human administration. Smaller species that had been oppressed for centuries were developing their own technologies and cultures without fear of elimination. Captain Hyunwoo Park, now fleet commander of the entire galaxy, maintained the military forces necessary to keep the peace. But the new galactic military was integrated, with officers and crews from multiple species working together. The goal is not human domination, he explained to his senior staff. The goal is galactic security. We want every species to feel safe and protected, not threatened and oppressed. The military integration program had been one of the most challenging aspects of the new order. Former Coalition officers had to prove their loyalty and commitment to peaceful principles before being accepted into human service. Many had failed these tests, but those who succeeded had become valuable assets. Commander Stonefang of the Keth, one of the first survivor species to ally with humanity, now served as Hyunwoo's deputy commander. His 4,000 years of military experience made him invaluable in understanding and countering potential threats. The justice system under Chief Justice Prosecutor Min Jun-oh was designed to be fair but firm. War criminals who had planned or participated in genocide faced trial and punishment, but ordinary citizens who had simply followed orders were offered rehabilitation and forgiveness. We must balance justice with mercy, Min Jun explained to the Galactic Justice Council. Those who made the decisions to commit genocide must face consequences. But we cannot punish entire species for the crimes of their leaders. The trials were conducted publicly and transparently, with representatives from all species serving as observers. High Commander Vexitari and the other Coalition leaders were found guilty of crimes against sentience and sentenced to permanent exile on a remote monitoring station. They would live comfortably, but could never again threaten galactic peace. Dr. Woo Jin Ryu had transformed his biological warfare expertise into medical research, developing treatments and cures for diseases that had plagued various species for millennia. His work was saving millions of lives across the galaxy. The same knowledge we use to create weapons can be used to create healing, he told his medical research team. Understanding how to harm life teaches us how to protect and improve it. The cultural renaissance was perhaps the most beautiful aspect of the new galactic order. Cultural exchange coordinator Nae Young Kim had established programs that allowed species to share their arts, music, literature, and philosophies without fear of cultural domination. Every species has developed unique ways of understanding the universe, she said during the opening of the first Galactic Cultural Festival. When we share these perspectives, we all become richer and wiser. Human children were learning Nexari, crystal singing alongside alien students who were studying human literature. Vrataki philosophical concepts were being combined with Thornid ecological wisdom to develop new approaches to planetary management. The galaxy was becoming truly integrated for the first time in its history. The most important development was the establishment of the Galactic Protection Protocol. Historian Chang-Min Seo had documented the patterns of genocide and oppression that had characterized the old galactic order, and the new government was determined to prevent such atrocities from ever happening again. We have built monitoring systems that will detect any attempt by any species to plan the elimination of another, President Dassam announced during the protocol's signing ceremony. We have the technology and the will to stop genocide before it begins. This galaxy will be a place where diversity is celebrated, not feared. The protocol included early warning systems, rapid response forces, and education.